Okay, welcome to part two. If you've just arrived here and you didn't watch part one, go to my profile, watch part one. It's important for this. Okay, so now we're moving on to communications for the family in social media after all of this started coming out in the press. Now, I think it's important to first talk about why this story became a headline, right? Why did this spread so fast across news media? And that is because this is something out of the ordinary that occurred, right? And it was shocking. So Anna Kepner was a healthy 18-year-old woman who went on a cruise. She was an experienced cruiser. She went on many cruise vacations, mostly with her grandparents, as can be seen across her social media. And you can see she really loved it. She had a lot of fun. She couldn't wait to go on them. And it seems like it was such a great bonding thing for her and her grandparents to do together. So when a ship comes back with an 18-year-old woman who is suspiciously unalived, it's concerning. And that's going to become headline news because it comes with questions. It comes with questions of what happened. Are there concerns for the next passengers on the cruise? Are there concerns that this was a crew member? What needs to be looked at, right? Did this happen on the ship? Did it happen on an island? There's just so many questions that come with that because, again, this is not normal. Now, people do pass away on cruises, right? That happens. Cruise ships have jails. Cruise ships have morgues. And it happens. Natural causes, right? And sometimes there's foul play involved. But again, this was not normal, and it was going to go to the headlines. Now, when that happened, we started seeing across not only mainstream media, but, then just small little content creators that this post from Chantal Kepner was being copied and pasted everywhere in comment sections, everywhere by just people, right? It wasn't of the family. They just took what she said to copy and paste it and put it places, and that's what they did. So Chantal had wrote, "This is a post no parent ever wants to make. I'm asking everyone to please stop sharing or posting about my daughter, Anna. We are trying to grieve the loss of our child, and it's been incredibly difficult to navigate this heartbreak while being overwhelmed with messages and friend requests. We truly appreciate everyone's love and concern, but right now we need privacy and space to grieve. Seeing hundreds of posts filled with inaccurate information and hurtful or off-the-wall comments has been incredibly difficult. We are a family simply trying to grieve the loss of our daughter. Please allow us the space and privacy we need during this heartbreaking time." Now, that's fine in the sense of grief, right? And now these are my opinions, okay? I've got a lot of them. So that's fine. I think everybody grieves differently and everybody wants some privacy to do that. However, this wasn't normal and things were going to be talked about. And in life, you can only control what you have the ability to control. Now, in a situation like this, going and just like pasting these comments across all of the media, you can't stop it from happening. It's happening, right? What you can do if it does impact your mental health, and this goes for anyone in anything, if you don't want to see it and it's impacting you negatively, you can remove it in the best way possible. In this case, if it's via social media, delete the apps, get off of it, don't look at it. Same as I would say, if it's just too much bad news and you need a break, take a break. Remove yourself from the situation. However, you can remove yourself from a situation, but you cannot stop a situation from happening. Not to mention that it's a First Amendment right for people to comment on things, to have news. Like, you just can't stop the wheels from turning. That being said, the flip side of this is we had a tragedy occur. And typically when something like this happens, you have family members who are out there screaming from the rooftops for justice for their loved one that was done wrong. What happened? Who did it? Right? We want answers. Something like this, to me, on a cruise ship, I would be asking for help from passengers on that ship. I'd be saying, please look at your photos. Please look at your videos. Do you see my daughter in the background? Do you see anybody suspicious around her? Please check everything that you have. We want to find out what happened. We want to get to the bottom of this. My child deserves justice. I would be screaming that, right? That is different from asking for some privacy for grief versus advocating for the memory of your child who was suspiciously unalived on what was supposed to be a vacation and celebration of her journey after high school. So for me, when I started seeing this circulating, just from the history of what I've seen in cases in true crime, just to be honest, the alarm bells went off for me. It was red flags because this is just not normal behavior of a response that you would have to try to just kind of shut everyone up. To be honest, that's just what it felt like. It was really weird and uncomfortable. If you saw this, I'm curious to know your comments below. How did you feel when you saw this? Because I can't be the only one that saw this going around everywhere. And I was like, what in the world is happening? As well as, that's suspicious. Now, to counter this, what we saw come shortly after was the complete opposite response from a different family member. Anna's grandmother started commenting her own message in posts and stories throughout social media, and this is what the grandmother had to say. Anna's grandmother, whose name is Barbara Collins Kepner, wrote, quote, "My granddaughter was 18 years old, no drugs or alcohol involved. She was schmurdered." Yes, she was schmurdered. That is why the FBI was there, end quote. And just a comment, we have to change certain words like unaliving and schmurdered. It's just the way social media works and how we say these things. So apologies. I know it's awkward, but it's just what we have to do. Now, what I want to say is, if the grandmother ever comes across my little video, kudos to you and thank you, because that is a loving, caring grandmother, because that right there is a grandmother who says something is wrong here, something is not right. She was unalived. This was no accident, right? That is someone shouting it from the rooftops. That is a response that is typical to see in such a tragedy like this, where something and someone was wronged and a family was wronged, and she is fighting for the memory of her granddaughter and to get justice. That is the kind of reaction that is normal. Now, with the grandmother making this statement across social media, it was actually the first public speculation online and the first public allegation that came from a close family member claiming that this was homicide. Now, we had another family member step forward after the grandmother, and this came from Martin Donahue, who identified himself as the uncle to Anna Kepner, and he stated, "I need everyone's help on this. If you haven't heard the story, then you have been living under a rock. This is my niece, Anna Kepner. She was 18 and was on a cruise with her dad, stepmom, and other family members. I cannot stay silent about this matter any longer. The stepmom son killed her, stuffed her naked, beaten body in a sheet, and stuffed her under a bed, and covered her with life jackets, then slept on that bed like nothing happened." He told his stepmom when no one could find Anna on the ship. So yes, they knew who did this, and it sickens me that the father, Chris, remains silent about it. Again, I'm just going to refer to part 1 in the comments that Chris made to the media. This is where this kind of comes back to everything. Now, Martin continued by saying, "Please pass this on till maybe it gets to someone that can do something about it. If nothing is done, it will all come out on the 20th. At least that's what the stepmom has said after treating family, that if they talk before, they will be banned from the remembrance of life for Anna. Please pass this so my family can get closure, and the people who did this and lied and stalled to tell the rest of us what happened when it did. Now you just look all guilty of a cover-up." And Uncle Martin, preach. Again, this has emotion. This has fire behind it. I felt this coming through the screen at me when I read it. And you can see how the uncle and the grandmother are completely conflicting with a stepmother's statement and comment about this whole situation, and that there was clearly way more to this story than was being let on. And the fact that it was being said that it was just like there was this threat that you don't get to speak, don't say anything until after the 20th, after the remembrance service. How do you threaten family that they cannot show up to a remembrance service? Like, that is just insane to me. Again, this is not about you individually. This is about an 18-year-old whose life should be remembered, should be celebrated, that was taken way too soon. To try to ban family members is just outrageous to me. Okay, we're ending part 2. I'm out of time. Please watch for part 3.